What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So, one of the things I really enjoy about YouTube is the fact that I can interact with you guys. So, I can post a video, you guys can comment in the comments section, and then I can reply to those comments. And in certain situations, when I see someone making a comment and I've seen it before, I like to do a video on it because we can talk a little bit more. We can look at the details and find out if what the person in the comments is saying is correct or if there's more to it. And we need to really look to see what that more to it is because there are a lot of solutions out there when it comes to Social Security. Let's face it, you have these lawmakers coming out. I just did a video talking about the 5 most common solutions to reform Social Security. But we don't know, we haven't really looked too much into what are the ramifications of making these changes. One of the changes that I talked about, and I actually showed a little video clip of Senator Lee, and he was talking about phasing out Social Security. Now, part of what he was saying is that we need to phase it out. So people who are currently working right now will still have to pay into the payroll contribution, but they're not going to get anything in return. So I want to look at this in greater detail. Let me show you, before we get started, I want to show you the comment. And this is from Jerry. And Jerry, thank you for the comment. The comment was to phase out Social Security. Don't mislead folks that are currently receiving Social Security or may be within 10 to 15 years. Okay, so like I said, Jerry, thank you for the comment. We're going to dive deep into this and we'll find out, is that really true? Because there's some other things that are going on when it comes to phasing out Social Security. It's not as easy as just saying, okay, we're going to do away with it. We'll have a line where we'll just cut that line and then everybody that's, let's say, 10 to 15 years before they retire, they'll still receive Social Security benefits, but everyone after them will no longer receive Social Security benefits. And so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to look at how Social Security works, because not everybody understands where the money comes from and how it gets to the people who are currently receiving benefits. So let's take a look at that. Now, this is an old illustration that I've used in the past. We can disregard what's on the bottom here. That was for another video. But I want to focus on how the Social Security Administration receives their money to pay out benefits. Okay, so we have 12.4%. That's the payroll tax or the payroll contribution. That is coming from 6.2% is coming from you. When you're working, you're paying into 6.2%. Your employer is matching that 6.2%. And that's where we get 12.4%. That goes to the Social Security Administration. That pays out about 77% of Social Security benefits. But we need more money. We need to supplement in order to give people 100% of their benefits. And so that's where the trust fund comes in. And the trust fund will offset that. So it will pay whatever the remainder is. So and I gave the example, let's say the payroll contribution amounts to about 77%, then you're going to have 23% coming from the trust fund every month to help pay Social Security beneficiaries. So that is the way that it works. Now, if we were to look at this and say, well, they're talking about phasing out. Let's say that Congress, some lawmakers want to do this. Senator Lee gets his way. He puts a proposal out there. It passes the House. It passes the Senate. The president signs off on it. And now we're looking at phasing out Social Security. Well, what would that mean? What would that mean for people who are currently receiving benefits? What would that mean for people who will be receiving benefits in 15 years from now? Well, if we look at this, first off, we have an issue when it comes to the trust fund because we know the trust fund is going to run out in 10 years. So if the trust fund runs out of money in 10 years, so if we don't have any reform to Social Security, that's going to be one problem. So that'll be a 23% cut across the board if they do nothing to reform Social Security. But let's say Senator Lee has this plan and it's going to phase out Social Security, so we don't even need to worry about the trust fund anymore because it's going to be phased out. So if we're looking at that situation, first off, we need to look at the people who are paying into the payroll contribution, because the people who are paying into the payroll contribution, they're going to continue to need to pay into the payroll contribution. Regardless if we have Social Security or not, if they're phasing it out, let's say we have a cutoff and they make that cutoff 20 years. So if you're 20 years away from your 67th birthday, you're not going to receive Social Security benefits. But the problem is you're still going to have to pay into the contribution because the people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits, they need to keep receiving the Social Security benefits. And in order for them to keep receiving the Social Security benefits, we still need to get that money from the payroll contribution. And so that money is still going to need to go to the Social Security Administration, as well as they still need to have money in the trust fund in order to pay these beneficiaries. So you're still going to have to pay. But get this, you're going to be paying into a payroll contribution. Your employer is going to be paying into a payroll contribution, and you're not going to get Social Security benefits when you retire. Does that seem fair? Does that seem like something that most people would be okay with? I would say no. If you're working right now, why would you pay 6.2% if you're not going to get anything in return? And so phasing out Social Security is not going to work. It can't work because when you make that cutoff and you tell people they're not going to receive Social Security benefits, but they still need to pay into the tax, they need to pay into the contribution, people are going to say, no, I'm not doing that. It doesn't make any sense. It's not good for me. Why would I do that? The reason why Social Security works right now is because people are paying into a contribution and they know that when they retire, they're going to be able to receive some compensation for that. But if they're not receiving any compensation for it, it's not going to work. And so looking at the current way of doing things, it's not like they have a nest egg other than this trust fund. This trust fund's $2.7 trillion, which is a lot of money, but that money will be depleted very fast if they do away, or if they phase out Social Security. So let's look at this scenario. Let's say they say, okay, people who are 20 years from retirement, you no longer have to pay into the payroll contribution. We're just going to take money from the trust fund and we're going to use that money to pay beneficiaries. So people who are currently receiving benefits, as well as people who are going to retire in 10 to 15 years. Let's say they do that. This money will be depleted a lot faster than 10 years, obviously, because right now we're still getting money from the payroll contribution. And just looking here, what is it, 1.4 trillion per year? That's the money that's going out to Social Security beneficiaries. So you see 2.7 trillion is not going to last very long if you're taking 1.4 trillion in order to pay Social Security benefits. So we have to look at that. 117 billion per month. Okay? So that's how much money is going out every month, $117 billion. So when we're looking at this whole situation, there's no way for that to work. There's no way to really phase out Social Security and make it fair for the people who are currently working and paying into that contribution. The only thing that we could tell them is you're going to have to continue paying. And that's what Senator Lee said. You're going to have to continue to contribute, but you're not going to be able to receive Social Security benefits when you retire. And people just aren't going to go for that. Most people would say, okay, let's reform Social Security. Let's not phase it out. Let's reform it. And I'm okay with paying a 1% or 2% increase just to assure that I will be able to receive Social Security when I retire. Because some people, 20 years out, just think about this, 20 years out from retirement, from your full retirement, you're 47 years old. 47 years old, you've been paying, let's say you started working when you were 21, or you might have even started a little bit earlier than that. You've been paying into this payroll contribution for over 20 years, over 25 years. And now they're saying, well, we're going to change it. And all that money that you paid, that you contributed before, guess what? It's not going to mean anything because when you retire, you're not going to be able to receive Social Security benefits. Does that sound fair? How can you phase out Social Security after people have been working for 20, 25 years, some even 30 years, depending on when you started working, 30 years into a system, and now you're going to get nothing in return? Most people are going to say, we can reform it by increasing the payroll tax. And that's why I say increasing the payroll tax or the payroll contribution, if you increase that by 1% or by 2%, most people will be okay with that because they know that they'll be able to receive Social Security benefits when they retire. And so that's all I'm saying when it comes to all the different solutions that are out there. And when Senator Lee is out there talking about, yeah, we want to, pull it up by the roots and phase it out and all this stuff, it doesn't make any sense. It's not going to work. And that's why we haven't seen a proposal move forward talking about phasing out Social Security, because they know it won't work. But to some audiences, they look at that and they say, yes, let's do that. Just like when he was speaking, you had people applauding him. You had people saying nice and all this stuff, because for some reason they think that that's a solution. And some people are looking at Social Security and Medicare and they're saying that it's causing more debt and all this stuff. It has nothing to do with our debt. It is separate from our debt. So the debt that we're accruing, this $33 trillion, that's coming from other expenses. And a lot of that expense is coming from our defense spending. So we have to get real and we have to really look at the situation. And like I said, Jerry, I appreciate the comment there, but we have to dive in deep and understand what we're saying when we start talking about phasing out Social Security and trying to say, well, no, people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits, they're not going to be impacted, or people 10 to 15 years out are not going to be impacted. This could impact people that are currently receiving Social Security benefits. Because we know if they don't plan to reform Social Security, in 10 years, something is going to happen to Social Security. And we already know that it's going to mean a cut across the board. Where are they going to get that money from if they don't reform Social Security? And so just leaving it as it is, and let's say we want to phase it out. So we're going to leave the current system the way it is, and the people who are paying into the payroll tax, they're going to continue having to pay into the payroll tax. But when we hit that 10-year mark, if they don't reform it, that's a 23% cut. So people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits, they're going to see a 23% cut. And people who are coming into the system, people who are my age right now, in 15 years, I'll be 67, and I'll be able to hopefully collect Social Security benefits, but I might collect it at a reduced benefit level, 23% cut. And so that's what I'm talking about. And that's why I'm saying that it's urgent that we focus on Social Security now, get these lawmakers to move forward with some type of legislation that reforms Social Security and expands Social Security, because that's the only way that we'll be able to keep things the way that they are right now when it comes to Social Security benefits, and even provide an increase for people who are receiving Social Security benefits right now. So I want to know what you guys think. So let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
This Congress can't pass gas, and he needs to run against a do-nothing Congress. And I think that can give them some traction that he did not have before. But, maybe they could get Rudy Giuliani to be Speaker. We know he can pass gas for sure. But this is almost comical.